On August 19, 2025, Delta Airlines Flight 1893 left Orlando for Austin, Texas, with 62 passengers and 6 crew, expecting a routine journey. For most of the flight, everything was normal. Passengers relaxed, the crew worked, and the plane cruised smoothly. But as the aircraft began its descent into Austin, the routine was shattered. A portion of the left wing's flap, a critical landing component, broke loose, visibly flapping in the wind. The calm inside the cabin quickly turned to concern as passengers realized something was seriously wrong. Suddenly, this ordinary flight became a test of the crew's training and the aircraft's resilience. The outcome would depend on the skill of the pilots and the safety systems built into modern aviation. The first to notice that something was wrong weren't the pilots in the cockpit, but the passengers seated throughout the cabin. It started as a subtle shift in the atmosphere, a sense that something was off, even before anyone could see it. The hum of conversation faded as people began to sense the change. As the plane began its descent, a strange vibration rippled through the fuselage. At first, many dismissed it as just another bout of turbulence, the kind that's common on any flight. But this vibration felt different, more persistent and oddly rhythmic, as if something vital was out of sync. One passenger, curious and perhaps a bit uneasy, opened her window shade. What she saw made her heart race. A section of the left wing's flap was hanging loose, swaying precariously in the rushing wind. The metal looked twisted, and the piece seemed barely attached. Word spread quickly through the rows. Passengers gasped, pointed, and soon phones were out, recording the shocking sight. The mood in the cabin shifted from confusion to alarm as more people realized the gravity of the situation. Fear took hold. The thought that the broken piece could detach at any moment was terrifying. If it broke free, it might strike another part of the wing or even the fuselage, potentially causing catastrophic damage. Every jolt of turbulence now felt like a threat. Flight attendants sprang into action, moving swiftly down the aisles. Their voices were calm and steady as they reassured passengers, but their eyes betrayed a hint of concern. They checked seatbelts, offered comforting words, and tried to maintain order, even as uncertainty hung in the air. The evidence was undeniable. The damage to the wing was severe, a clear and present danger. Passengers stared in disbelief, some whispering prayers, others simply frozen in shock. The flight, once routine and uneventful, had transformed in an instant. Now everyone on board was united by a shared sense of anxiety and the hope that they would make it safely to the ground. Strangers comforted each other, hands were held, and silent glances spoke volumes. In that moment, the importance of every single aircraft component became crystal clear to everyone on board. The fragility of flight was no longer an abstract idea, it was right outside their window, a stark reminder of how much trust we place in the machines that carry us through the sky. To truly grasp the danger involved in this situation, it's important to first understand what wing flaps are and why they matter so much to flight safety. These seemingly simple components play a critical role in every takeoff and landing, and their function is often overlooked by passengers. Flaps are movable panels located on the trailing edge of an airplane's wings. During takeoff and landing, pilots extend these flaps to change the shape of the wing. This increases both lift and drag, allowing the aircraft to fly at slower speeds without stalling. When retracted, the wing is more streamlined for efficient cruising at high speeds. By extending the flaps, pilots can safely control the plane at lower speeds, which is absolutely crucial during the most vulnerable phases of flight, takeoff, and especially landing. Without flaps, the plane would need to approach the runway much faster, making landings far more dangerous and difficult. If a flap fails or becomes damaged, it can create a dangerous imbalance. One wing may generate more lift than the other, causing the aircraft to roll unexpectedly. This sudden rolling motion makes the plane much harder to control, especially when flying close to the ground. Pilots spend countless hours in simulators preparing for emergencies like flap failures. They practice handling the aircraft with compromised control surfaces, learning how to compensate and keep the plane stable. Even with this training, landing with a damaged flap is always a high-stress, high-stakes challenge. In this particular case, the broken flap forced the pilots to rethink their entire approach. They likely had to land at a much higher speed than normal, since the missing lift from the damaged flap meant the plane couldn't slow down as much as usual. This increases the risk of overrunning the runway and makes precise control even more critical. On top of that, the risk of the loose part breaking off mid-flight added another layer of danger. If debris were to detach, it could damage other parts of the aircraft or even affect the engines, turning a difficult situation into a potential disaster. In moments like these, both the design of the Boeing 737 and the skill of its pilots are put to the ultimate test. The aircraft's engineering must withstand unexpected stresses, while the crew must remain calm and make split-second decisions under pressure. The fact that the plane landed safely despite all these challenges is a testament to the strength of modern aircraft design and the rigorous training of professional pilots. It's a reminder of just how much goes on behind the scenes to keep every flight safe. Despite the alarming situation, the crew responded with calm and precision. Pilots declared an emergency, coordinated with air traffic control, and prepared for a challenging landing. They adjusted speed and approach, working through emergency checklists for a partial flap failure. In the cabin, flight attendants reassured passengers, ensured everyone was buckled in, and prepared for a possible emergency landing. The crew's coordination and professionalism kept panic at bay and focused everyone on safety. The division of duties, pilots flying, attendants managing the cabin, was crucial. Thanks to their training and teamwork, Flight 1893 landed safely in Austin. It was a textbook example of handling a crisis under pressure. Once safely on the ground, Delta immediately shifted its focus to caring for passengers and managing the situation with professionalism and empathy. The airline's first priority was ensuring everyone's well-being, both physically and emotionally, after such a stressful event. Passengers were greeted by Delta staff as they disembarked, with team members offering comfort, guidance, and support. Dedicated customer service representatives were on hand to answer questions, provide updates, and help travelers process what had just happened. The airline quickly issued a formal apology, acknowledging the seriousness of the incident and taking responsibility. Passengers were given clear information about the situation, including what had occurred during the flight and what steps would be taken next. Delta grounded the affected aircraft and launched a thorough inspection to determine the root cause of the flap failure. Maintenance crews and engineers worked around the clock, examining every detail to ensure the safety of future flights. As a result, several flights were canceled or delayed, and the plane was removed from service for comprehensive checks and repairs. This decision, though inconvenient for some, underscored Delta's commitment to safety above all else. Delta staff worked tirelessly to rebook affected travelers, arranging alternative flights, accommodations, and meal vouchers where needed. The airline's customer care teams made sure that every passenger received personal attention and assistance. At the same time, Delta's public response was swift and transparent. The company provided regular updates to the media and customers, aiming to reassure the public and maintain trust in the airline's safety standards. By communicating openly and taking decisive action, Delta demonstrated that its safety protocols extend well beyond the flight itself. For passengers, the airline's compassionate and organized response helped transform a frightening ordeal into a testament of resilience, responsibility, and the importance of putting people first. A major mechanical failure triggers an automatic FAA investigation. The FAA, along with Delta and Boeing, began a detailed inspection of the damaged flap and related systems. Investigators searched for signs of fatigue, corrosion, or manufacturing defects, and reviewed maintenance records for missed warnings. Flight data and cockpit voice recorders were analyzed to reconstruct the event and the crew's response. If a systemic issue is found, the FAA can issue an airworthiness directive, requiring inspections or repairs across the fleet. The goal isn't blame, but to prevent future incidents by learning from this one. The process ensures that lessons from Flight 1893 will improve safety for all. Every investigation strengthens the system for future flights. The Delta 1893 incident came amid heightened scrutiny for both Delta and Boeing. Delta had faced other safety events in 2025, including a wingtip collision and an aborted takeoff earlier that year. Boeing, still recovering from the 737 MAX crisis, faced renewed questions about quality control, even though this was an older 737 model. Each incident, no matter how well managed, adds to public concern and regulatory pressure. Still, Delta operates thousands of safe flights daily, and the 737 has a strong safety record. These events are reminders that constant vigilance is needed from airlines, manufacturers, and regulators. Every incident is a chance to learn and improve. The safe outcome of Flight 1893 reinforces the importance of robust safety systems. The most important fact: everyone on Flight 1893 walked away unharmed. This wasn't luck, it was the result of layered safety systems, rigorous training, and resilient aircraft design. The crew's quick thinking and the plane's engineering turned a potential disaster into a safe landing. Even with a damaged flap, the 737 remained controllable, thanks to built-in redundancies. The incident is a story of resilience, not failure. It highlights the professionalism of the crew and the strength of modern airliners. For passengers, it was a frightening lesson in why air travel is so safe. The successful landing restored trust in the people and technology behind every flight. Incidents like this are rare, which is why they make headlines. Air travel remains extraordinarily safe, with millions of flights completed without issue every year. The industry's commitment to learning from every event is what keeps it that way. Investigations lead to improvements, shared across airlines and manufacturers worldwide. The crew of Flight 1893 showed how training and design prevent catastrophe, even when things go wrong. The system is built to handle emergencies, not just avoid them. The safe landing in Austin is a testament to aviation's safety culture. Every flight is a promise to get you home safely every single time.